Hi, I'm Taylor Novak. I'm a third-year PhD student in the Stevison Lab, but I've been in Auburn for 5 years because I did my master's in a different department. And originally my career goal since the time I was like 2 was to become a veterinarian. Realized that wasn't the exact fit for me, and through doing undergrad research just really fell in love with biology and science and answering questions. And so aside from science, which my favorite part of is actually asking the questions, which I think irritates the heck out of my PI, I also am an avid dog lover. I have 2 at home, and then also a big reader, especially fantasy. The only main club that I'm really involved in is the BSGSA, which is the Departmental Graduate Student Association, and it's just really great and supportive, and I love it. Especially within the department, we have all sorts of seminars and get-togethers where you can kind of meet and mingle with other people. And then if you're looking for people outside of the department, there's lots of clubs and activities you can join. So like Graduate Women in STEM, the international student clubs are great. And so it's really just what type of social life do you want and making it your own. The transition from undergrad to grad school is definitely kind of tough for some people. So I went from working 2 to 3 jobs in undergrad and being able to take classes to being very focused on grad school. So you're taking fewer classes and just very self-dependent and self-reliant on scheduling your research and making sure you're getting everything done. The advice I would give to people looking to start grad school would be to make sure you really know what you want to do, especially if you're pursuing a PhD. And if you're still not really sure, then make sure to check out a master's program, because a 4 to 6 year commitment to one PI and one line of research is a lot of time and is really stressful. So you want to make sure you really like it. So I think I started reaching out to graduate faculty this summer, like before I wanted to come, so it was over a year in advance when I started reaching out to potential faculty advisors, and then you have quite a bit of time, so usually the December before you want to come, to fill all that out. Some of my favorite classes have included growth physiology, which is actually over in animal sciences, and then the wildlife stats class taught by Todd Story, which almost everybody's taken. But probably my favorite class within the department was stress physiology, taught by Haruka Wada. It was a lot of fun, but also very informative. I chose to come to graduate school at Auburn University mostly because of my PI, so I actually followed someone down here for my master's program, and then I stayed both because of my PI and because of how much I loved the environment. So it's a very small town feel, but you can just drive an hour and a half to Atlanta to get all the big city excitement you want. So the way that graduate students in our department are usually funded is via teaching assistantships. So that means you get paid to teach. I am on a half-time assistantship, which means I work about 20 hours a week teaching, and then the rest of my time is filled with coursework or research. And so if you do half-time assistantships, then you only have to TA during the fall and spring semesters to get your full pay. So professor-student relationships are very different once you get to graduate school, and I say this having done undergrad research. So one paper I actually read about this compared the relationship between a graduate student and their PI to that of a parent to kid relationship, just because you really don't want to disappoint them and how closely knit you guys are. So just keeping that in mind and always keeping an open line of communication with your PI is super important, because you guys are both dependent on another for success. So my career goals are to go do research at a zoo, so kind of doing behind the scenes work for conservation and things. And I think our program and Dr. Stevison are preparing me for that by providing a lot of opportunities, such as Haruka Wada's has a careers outside of academia seminar that she puts on, I think, every year or every other year, as well as just giving me the space and opportunity to reach out to the resources necessary to know how to succeed. So typical days for graduate students vary a lot based on lab. So if you haven't already talked to a PI, this is one of the first questions I would ask them, just because work-life balance is something that's very personal and very variable. For me in the Stevison Lab, I usually work kind of a typical work week where I have 8 hours a day. With the quarantine and COVID going on, some of that's from home where I'm doing computational work on my computer, and some of that's actually in the lab working with our fly stocks and doing research on them. So depending on the semester and how many courses I take determines how much research time I get, and then the rest of my time is spent teaching, which I try to keep to 1 to 2 days a week, and then, like I said, coursework.